Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. I really hope you're doing alright today, and I gotta let you know one thing. Only about 16% of you that watch my videos are actually subscribed to the channel, and it goes a massive way in me being able to build it up. If you can just go ahead and click the sub button, it helps me tremendously. Also remember to check the bell if you want to see all my videos when they go live, you get a notification. And now we can get into the video. I'm talking about a tier list. A goddamn tier list. A tier list of dungeons for Mythic Plus Season 4. Yes, you heard it right. But I was thinking, well, how would we do this? Like, if you make a tier list of dungeons, is it just gonna be based on which ones are the best to get? Like, you get a Junkyard, you're always gonna be giga happy about it because it's like the easiest raid score ever. So that would be a bit too simple. I thought, okay, maybe a little bit more analysis into like the enjoyability of a key as a whole. That could be like a good basis for, you know, actually rating a key, and how enjoyable do you think a key is? Of course, from a point of view of a holy paladin, every different spec is gonna have a different experience depending on what their kit allows them to do. Yeah, Grimrail S tier. I mean, that would be an easy one, right? Straight away F tier. No, but I was thinking a little bit more of analyzing the key and what makes it fun and stuff. But I mean, sure. Like, let's start with Grimrail, right? Let's start with Grimrail. I mean, Grimrail, I don't think it's not a good key. I mean, nobody likes a fucking Grimrail, especially when we've had Quaking, we've had Sanguine. It's always very bad whenever you had like Area of Denial, stuff like that. And it's a really tight dungeon. However, I do like the first bit of trash. Let's look at MDT actually. Let's look at MDT. The first bit of trash of Grimrail is not bad whatsoever. I do like this zone. Like, there's options to skip stuff, but it's really all just Technicians and Overseers. The Overseers don't do much. They just like charge at the tank and do a frontal actually, which is a bit annoying, but that's just a skill issue. The Technicians though are kind of cool, like CC chaining stuff, so I don't mind this part whatsoever. The first boss, I don't mind it whatsoever. I think it's actually pretty okay. It's a typical Tantrum boss. Appreciate the follow very much. It's a typical Tantrum boss where he just goes and does the missile barrage every now and then, and it kind of rips the party, but it's not a full group-wide damage. It's like on 2 targets at a time. And I don't mind the slams. Now, I know casters probably hate this boss because of the slams from the big boy here. But I don't mind this boss from a healer point of view. I think it's actually kind of cool. The stairs don't really do much. You just dodge those bombs and then those 2 guys don't do anything. The bad part about Grimrail really is just like this. It's like this corridor section is absolutely disgusting. Where do you even start? You start from here, right? Like, you have the frontals. I think it's from the gunners. Yeah, you have the shrapnel blast from the gunners, which is always annoying, especially when the tank is moving around. The infantry doesn't do much. Who throws the bombs, actually? It is the infantry? So this pack is not bad. Whenever you get to the... No, it's the Grenadiers, yeah. The Grenadiers kind of rip some ass with those bombs. Not really sure how you play around those besides just moving out of them as soon as they start casting, but it's really quick. Ignore my proposal and you do this. Well, I mean, I don't mind this dungeon too much, honestly. The Labyrinth and the Scramble Blast is what makes this part like so funky. Because if you have Quaking, you have Sanguine. On top of that, you have the Labyrinths, you have the Shrapnel Blast, the frontals, you have the bombs, you have the frontals from the infiltrators, you have the sleeping puddles. This is what's making this so weird, like so bad. Now, whenever the like Sanguine and Quaking are gone, maybe this dungeon will just be much better to play, honestly. I don't think it's bad at all. Now, the camera play is bad, it's annoying, but it's really just this whole section of the dungeon that's like annoying to play. The second boss itself, it's not the most fun thing ever. Just a big trash clear, but it's kind of fun at the same time. Like, using the turret and killing stuff with it is alright-ish. Not the most fun boss ever though. And like, the last trash packs are actually really hard. In Fortified, if you step onto the Farseer's Thunder Zone, you can pretty much get 2-shot in high keys. So this is pretty annoying to play as melee. And then the rest, like, there's the captain you gotta move out of. This trash is hard, but I don't think it's bad either. Like, this zone, though, is really claustrophobic to play, because if you step back, you have the fire. If you step forward, you pull stuff. And you also have the area of denial from the thunder zones. You have the area of denial from the captain. Whenever he's doing this, you get a boom out of melee, 7 yards. And there's the frontal, of course, on the infiltrator. There's the scout doing the arcane blitz, which just spawns a lot of swirlies. So it's just a lot of area of denial kind of mechanics. And then the last boss, I mean, I think the fact that the ranged can just stand on the sides and not take any damage just make this whole boss just disgusting. It's just disgusting, because melee just has like such a much worse time on it. As a Holy Paladin, you're just like trying to find a spot to run to, constantly trying to freedom yourself to break the traps, but the rest of the melee are next to you, so it's really hard to find a way of doing it without killing everybody. I personally dislike this boss simply because of the fact that any other ranged healer is just like face rolling this, no problem. So it's just a nightmare doing as a Holy Paladin. I don't like that boss. The rest of the dungeon, though, I think with different affixes would be way better. I think it's still gotta get the F, though, just because of that. Like, the general enjoyment of a dungeon should come as well as taking into account the affixes that could ruin it. And Grimrail is just way too affix dependent. There's just too many affixes that are doggo for it. Yeah, I think that's it for Grimrail. It's gotta be an F tier. I mean, no matter how many excuses you come up for it, it's just still bad. Gambit, though, I like Gambit. I think Gambit is a quick, probably S tier, honestly. I mean, what's bad about Gambit, honestly? I actually love playing Gambit. There's so many good things. The first zone is just a massive cliff fest. It's kind of cool doing a lot of damage. Like, it's really all about seizing those scale binders. And then just a massive face roll. It's not the most interactive part, but it feels nice just like mowing down a bunch of mobs and having a good time doing AoE. Even as a healer, feels good. The Goliaths have been nerfed, so they're not that bad to get them ninja pulled, but I always like this first part. I think it's just pretty, maybe not chill. Chill is not the word, but it's just like a good old face roll. Killing a bunch of mobs at once feels good. You never really kill this part, but these mobs are actually dog shit for melee, but the good thing is you never really pull them. First boss, don't really mind it too much, honestly. I like doing the console, actually. It's like a little challenge I give for myself to get there as soon as it's like starting to get charged and doing it as soon as possible. It can be a little bit annoying on Tyrannical, though. If you get it to do one extra intermission phase, you're almost done for. But I don't mind that boss too much. The trash over here as well, it's really challenging for the tanks and Fortify, those casts and the deck hands with the haymakers. I really don't mind this section at all. I actually, it's like kind of small pulls, but at the same time you're always on the lookout for like a cheeky hotch here and there. It's quite enjoyable. The second boss, though, not so great though. The second boss is always a fiesta of, you get a bad tank, it's always gonna be fucking trying to get into the good position, getting back in spot, you gotta get the tail just spinning around. Yeah, this boss is like literally the only thing that's like bad about this dungeon in my opinion. And then the last part of the dungeon is some good old kick everything, and so long as your DPSers and stuff are on spot with the kicks, you're chilling so hard. Last boss, though, I love the last boss. I love it. As a Holy Paladin playing Necro, it's so cool to just have your Vanquisher Hammer charges ready, and every time somebody else has to soak that thing, though, the collapsing stars, otherwise you're fucked. But I just like it so much. Just thinking about it and preparing your wings, trying to reset them, having ready for every time that thing comes up. I just love this whole dungeon, man. Probably one of my favorite ones. For sure. It's gonna go S tier for sure. Iron Cox, though. Ooh. Iron Cox is a good one, though. I like it because there has so many options. There's so many things you can pull and choose to pull. But it's kind of overtuned right now. Like those bleeds that are rinsing some asses on. There's some trash mobs that put some bleeds up, and as a Holy Paladin you can bob, you can sack, you can bubble yourself, you can do some things, but they just do so much damage. It's kind of limiting this dungeon. a little bit in what you can pull. But if you had a Holy Priest, you could just spam heal and it wouldn't be a problem. Because spamming heal is like infinite Words of Glory. Every cast of heal from a Holy Priest is even more healing than a Word of Glory. If you take into account like Trail of Light and the fact that they're getting off cooldown Holy Word Serenity. So as a Holy Paladin, this has to be like a C tier. Like I like the options. I think it's gonna be way better. Like as soon as some tweaking is done, it's gonna be a great dungeon to actually enjoy pushing and just doing a bunch of big pulls at the beginning. But right now, everything is just so dangerous. That's like, yeah, not exactly the greatest experience. Like I've depleted so many 23s. Actually, like just keys in general, like 20 somethings on Grimrail, because just go in and not Grimrail, Iron Dogs. You go in, you pull big over here, and this kind of pulls with the Foot Soldiers and the Battle Masters. They apply the charging slash, which by the way, this using finally Nagi put the abilities up here, which I love him for that. Thank you so much. But yeah, this stuff is just like destroying people. The charging slash. After that though, the first boss kinda lame. Second boss, you pretty much just kill them in the corner, doesn't do anything. Third boss, pretty lame. Fourth boss, all the bosses in Warlords of Draenor are pretty lame on their own. But just the fact that it's like there's a lot of options. This minigame over here, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. You can skip some stuff over here and choose what you pull. The trash over here is just a bit OP as well, but not the worst. Could learn to play it better for sure. So I do like Iron Dogs, I just think it's a little bit overtuned right now, but could definitely be even a higher tier. It just has a lot of options, but at the moment it's just fucked. Junkyard's gotta be, I think it's gotta be an A tier, honestly. I think Junkyard is free IO, but it just depends on the bots, and I don't really like the gimmick of the bots. Like getting the bots and just doing free damage because you got the bots. Yeah, not my favorite thing. I mean, it's free IO. You get this key, you just do the bots properly, you don't die, the key times itself. But, you know, as the key itself and like how it feels to play it, it's just the bots, right? So the experience of it, yeah, you're gonna enjoy it because you know you're getting probably ECIO, but after all, you're there to enjoy playing the key, and it's just the bots you're playing, not the actual key. I like Gunker though. Gunker is a good boss. I hate the trash on this side. Like the trash over here, disgusting. The fact you get gripped by these guys, and like everybody's gotta deal with that, but it's just very annoying. And then there's the slimes, the no-median slimes that are like bursting and doing Giga AoE every now and then. Everybody's spreading out on these packs because you're also pulling the monstrosities, so it's just so messy. I hate this part of the dungeon. King Gobomak on this whole side is alright, but I haven't done a high enough fortified key to really know what a lot of these mobs do. I have no idea what the shamans even do. People say the shamans are like the hard part? Let me even see. They have this shield thing, stone skin, right? Damage reduced taken by 75%. Ooh. Yeah, that's fucked. If that goes off, that's fucked. That's you could kick both things, right? So, yeah, it's just a matter of not fucking up the kick, but yeah, I don't know. I don't mind that side either. I think that side's pretty good. This boss, decent. People stock up and stuff, so you can always get some fat, juicy Latzadon when they're coming in for what's it called, the charge smash. Pretty enjoyable. Pretty enjoyable boss. Trixie and Nano. I mean, you also play them. I've seen people play them on like the corner back here. They just cheese them. They don't do anything. They line of sight every charge of roadkill on like a pillar back here, so it never happens. And they just like don't exist, just like the second boss on Iron Dogs. But they're not a bad boss. The fact that you can cheese them though obviously makes them like non-existent. Last boss, it's just a good old DPS fest. Can you kill him before he does another phase? So, not the most enjoyable boss. If you fail the DPS check, you're pretty much done, but I mean, you're never gonna deplete this key if you don't die and have the bots, so yeah, overall, not the most enjoyable key, for sure. This part just ruins it for me. And there's some stuff over here. The crawlers are really nasty. Some of the trash is just annoying. The exhaust on the scrap bots is disgusting to play around. So some of the stuff is not exactly the most enjoyable, but overall the dungeon is enjoyable because you're getting free IO. After all, making good damage with the sap is always kind of cool, but yeah, not my most enjoyable dungeon, I would say. Lower Karazhan though, holy. I gotta give lower a low rating. Yo, what up? Meow, I'm Donkey, what up? I gotta give Karazhan a low one, man. Let me go over it. Like, every time I try to think about a dungeon, there's stuff that I'm missing, so I gotta go over it this way. But looking at lower Karazhan is always a nightmare, because it's, you know, you got all these different levels and stuff. Apparently my corpse, nah, it's just the graveyard. Yeah, the very beginning of the dungeon, like with the rains of coins from the philanthropists, it's alright, but it's also pretty slow. Because just getting things together, since there's like no mobs over here, you have one pack, you go down, and then just getting these whole 3 packs together, it just takes ages. The camera play here is disgusting. Like, you look towards the upper, like your camera is looking inwards towards the corridors, and that's like the best thing that I found. Because if you're looking like through the corridor like this way, you're always gonna be hitting the ceiling right above you, so it's kind of disgusting as well. But even then, just like the camera play here just ruins it no matter what. The bosses, I don't even remember what like the other bosses are. I've played Wicked because it's been up this week. And there's like another one that I haven't played yet, but this one's like busted as well. There's all the ads just doing giga damage right now. Not exactly the best scaling, I would say. And the other one with the fire and stuff, I didn't mind that one too much. It was a bit of a just AoE fest. But the cleansing of the fire and stuff was kind of a cool mechanic, but at the same time, not much was happening. It was just a kick fest. AoE fest and kick fest as a healer, it just felt like you just didn't really have anything to really look forward to. You just were like trias healing all the time. After that, you usually die. If you go down to your Fireland stuff, it's like you fail a kick, you're dead, but at the same time, that's kind of cool. But most people are dying that way. You skip the mini-boss and you just go back to the beginning. And then you go down and then you do... you know, you start killing these guys over here, or you just go down to the... where's it go? Not Morose. Morose is a different story on its own. Where's the boss over here, actually? Oh, down there. Yeah. Atumen. I like Atumen. I think it's a good boss. Now, there's these add-ons that are basically doing the dispel for you now at this point. I have that thing, and like, I didn't even realize I had it, but at some point it's just telling me who to dispel. So this is like, yeah, it just doesn't exist, that mechanic, but I think it was cool. It's just a lot of dodging frontals, dodging swirlies, or rather AoE if like the tank is gonna move out of the thing, or it's gonna solo the Short Suffering. With a monk, the tank was just like moving out of the Short Suffering, so yeah, we didn't have to do much besides just dodging it. This whole trash area though, there's just a lot of horses with a lot of charges and a lot of like trash with swirlies and stuff. Like these guys put up the, what is it, the apprentices, they put up this bomb that you have to step out of melee with for a couple seconds, so it's just slow. It just feels like a very slow area. Especially now, I played it with Sanguine the other day, it just took ages because the mobs kept on like dying one by one and like charging onto the stuff. It was such a nightmare to play that with Sanguine. There's a healing touch, but I've never had this go through actually. So this just feels really slow, but Atumen, I like that boss. This whole area, I haven't played it yet. Like all the spiders and stuff, no idea. Back onto Morose though, I like Morose. It's a really good fight to play. Especially now that they nerfed the bleed on him. It's only 1 minute cooldown, or rather 1 minute duration, it's not infinite. It just feels like a lot of, like, you know, it's a giga spot heal fight, which, for a change, it feels okay. You're just like generating as much holy power to do as many words of glory as you can, which just feels okay. I don't know. The whole, this area over here with the arcane wardens though, the volatile charge, I don't really know how you play around this. Like, I was doing a 23 fortified, it was taking down 95% of people's HP. Just this whole thing alone. So how do you play around that? Like, do you just like have personals, or if you get it, like you gotta get it a lot of time, because you gotta kill like 3 of them unless you like try and skip them somehow. So I'm not really sure about that. The rest of the mobs are okay, but those 2, like those 3 mobs just make this whole area a nightmare. Everything else, a bunch of just AoEing things down, except if they go out, if they get the heal out. Then there's these other guys, the attendants, doing a lot of damage with the Shadow Blast. I think if you pull selectively and you choose things properly, the dungeon is not bad. However, there's many packs that just have things that you'd rather not pull. Like this whole area, you'd rather just skip this whole area of the trash, apparently. Maybe not in hierarchies, but like right now, people, that's what they're doing. Maiden, though, I think the Maiden is just like a cheese boss, honestly. It's straight up just a cheese boss, but like min-maxing what you can do just to not have to take the damage from the Sacred Ground, I think that's kind of cool. It does demonstrate that you know your shit. So in that regard, I do like the fight, but just because it's a cheese boss and at some point you just take 0 damage from it, and if everybody is able to take 0 damage from Sacred Ground, somehow, then they just like absolutely obliterate this boss and take no damage from it. I'll be making a guide on Maiden at some point, and because there's a lot of ways of not ever getting CC'd by Mass Repentance and therefore not having to take Sacred Ground. So if you know your stuff, as I said before, you can get away with not taking much damage. So I'll be making a guide on that maybe next week on Tyrannical, so I can actually have footage for doing it myself. But yeah, I'll be talking about that in a different video. I just think the dungeon is alright, but there's so many things that are really hard. The tuning right now is definitely going to get some tweaks done to it. There's going to be some stuff that might be tuned down a little bit, but otherwise, you just end up selectively pulling too many things, and it's not like... It's actually kind of claustrophobic as well, because there's just so many things around you. There's so many mobs all over the place. Not here, but... You know, all these areas just crawling with mobs, and... This whole area as well, and this whole area as well is just crawling with mobs. You kind of are always on the lookout to not pull anything, so... I just don't really enjoy it too much. I think it's, right now, if the tuning is better... Just like with Iron Dogs, I think it can definitely bump up as soon as you can pull more stuff, and like... There's less things that are just denying you being able to make much more open routes. Streets! Streets is, it's a decent dungeon. I think it's just gonna fill in the gap on B, honestly. I don't love Streets. Because it's a long-ass dungeon, just like Lower. Long-ass dungeons, I don't like them too much. Streets, it's kind of on the long side. Is it 39 minutes, I think it is, right? Kind of on the long side. The first part of the dungeon is just... like, I've just done it so many times at that point. At this point, it's just, it just drags on for too long. Like, this whole side, before you pull the first boss, it's just too slow, man. It's just slow. Like, every mob does something. You have the stasis beams, you have the debuffs that slow you. You kind of, like, you have the grenades being able to one-shot people every time. These guys just take forever, and it's just a lot of small pulls that take a long time. Maybe that's just our comp. But I just think this whole area just takes forever. There's also this mini-boss over here, really annoying. You can invis spot past that one, so that's fine. But and then there's the mini-boss as well, which just takes a long time. It's just a little bit of a drag for me. I just think it just lasts for too long. Now, once you're past the first area, though, I actually love going left side. It just feels like even though you're killing 1x1 mobs almost, or 2x2. I don't know, it just feels like meaningful mobs that like take a little bit of just playing their mechanics. Just like if you were playing a bunch of mini-bosses over here, but like in this side. And they all just give a lot of count, so you know you're making good progress because they all give like a fuckload of count. What is this like? This guy gives 6%, this guys give 4 each. This guy gives 345, you know. This whole pack gives a fuckload as well, like 5 or 6 almost. So this whole side just feels good to play, in my opinion. There's also a bunch of sussy boys, so yeah. I don't really like this side, though, rather... oh my god, I thought it was a roach, because I saw the Pokebug moving. I got some PTSD with roaches in my house, man. There's just like roaches everywhere. Every now and then I have one crawling around me over here. Fucking hell. Yeah, this whole area just... I have pretty bad experiences with casts of... What is it? This thing going off, and like a lot of people not having keys for stuff. Wise guys just, yeah, one-shotting people with a thing on the ground. I just think this one is way sweatier than this one. This side just feels way better. But here you're like straight away going into the... Into this, what you call the market. So in a way it just flows nicely in that regard. Because I do hate the market. Like one of the reasons why I don't like this dungeon is having to do the market. And the whole Oasis thing, like side or this boss, just... No, I just don't like this boss whatsoever. Takes forever, feels like clearing trash. You have to do this whole gimmicky intermission, whatever you want to call it, just to get to the boss, and it just feels like a drag. This boss, I don't mind it. Clearing through this trash, I don't mind it. I actually love the Postmaster. Even if it doesn't do much, I kind of just like the challenge of, like, people are coming in and they're like all soaking that thing, and they're rather like stacking up for the fan mail. Then there's like the soak. You do big healing, then they're spread out, so you kind of have to like think, okay, now what do I do about that? So as a healer, this boss is really enjoyable. I love it. As a healer, especially as a Holy Paladin, this boss is not enjoyable, but it's not a bad boss. It's actually a decent boss. This one though, dog shit. This one though, boring. Last boss, it's alright. It's just about playing the thing, and it doesn't last too long, so I like this boss. Overall though, I think the dungeon just drags on for a long time. Not my favorite, I would say. But I've said that for every dungeon, because what's probably my favorite is just straight up gonna be, honestly, Gambit. I love Gambit. Like, you tell me to play a Gambit, I'll tell you yes every time. Even though I don't like the dragon boss too much, if it's played properly with a good tank, it's not a bad boss whatsoever. You just like DPS in the dragon for a little while and nothing else is really happening, which itself it's kind of boring, but you know, at least you're dodging stuff, you're always getting like grabbed by something and stuff like that. Carry me a Gambit. A healer can't carry anything, man. You can only carry stuff with a tank. That's all you can do. Upper Karazhan though, I'm conflicted about Upper. I like Upper. I like Upper a lot. I like the fact that it's short. I like the fact that there's not too much trash. He said no, maybe later though. I like Upper quite a little bit, man. Now, the thing is, it's such a big difference between Tyrannical and Fortified, it's ridiculous. Tyrannical, it's just so much harder than Fortified. Which is usually the case for a lot of dungeons, but here, I just think it's even worse, man. Like, they tuned down Medivh, but the Curator and the trash on the Curator, rather like the mobs that spawn, the sparks or whatever they're called, they are destroying. Like, they do so much damage. This trash doesn't do anything. They just do the barrage, which you can line of sight on the corner. And these guys regenerate maximum mana when they die, and they siphons energy from nearby mana sources. I don't even know what that does, man. Like, they don't do anything. This trash doesn't do anything. This, you can line of sight and never take any damage. This is just tank damage. The things coming up, like the trash, as you come up from this dungeon, is actually kind of annoying because it's really slow and you're like dragging around the spirit and you have the mini-boss. It's alright though, you can skip the mini-boss, so you have the option. But yeah, this boss, on high keys, even in Fortified this week, was already destroying us. So, then you go to Medivh, it's just gonna destroy you with yeah, Flame Breath. Like, I'm just thinking about a Flame Breath and how you deal with that as a Holy Priest. And I'm just disgusted. Like, just thinking about it, just spam heal, and you have the best spot heal in the game right now. You have insane comeback options with, you know, just Holy Word Serenity. And just Guardian Spirit as well. You just have so many good options. And then Bubble doesn't work on this boss, on Flame Breath. It's just so many things that make this boss disgusting to just think about it. But you can skip a lot of stuff here. You can skip this guy. You don't really have to kill much here. You can skip this guy. You could get this bat or you could not get it. So the trash is just alright. There's options. I'll do the push-ups in a minute. I have to do 45 actually. So it's gonna take a little while. Here you can skip whatever you want as well. You can like not kill anything if you want to. Mana Devourer, actually cool boss. Like soaking those orbs, doing the more damage with them, and then giving them, what you call like, taking them off you, like with the soaking those energy voids. Yeah, that's what they're called. I like that boss a lot. It is hard on Tyrannical. It does a lot of damage, but I like the boss. It's the kind of boss where if you die, like the whole group is just dying anyways. Almost. Then you go up here and yeah, this trash is kind of OP in a way. It just does so much damage, but that's why you just want to pull a little bit of it, because you don't really need to kill much more. You can just like kill this pack and then you can invis spot through this. So it just feels like, god damn, that got me actually. Fucking hell, Helix. That got me. And the chest pad is like the only thing that I don't like though. 10.65%? Holy shit. I haven't done a route for this dungeon, but I really wonder what that looks like. Every time I've done the upper Karazhan, it's looked like a different dungeon. And then the last boss, it's not even here. Where is it? It's gone. Okay. I actually like this boss quite a lot. I think it's a little bit of a cheesy boss when you can like not do anything on the second platform, or rather the first ship. You can stay without triggering like the boss actually engaging with you. You can just let him cast the beams without going on melee. And he will never hit you with the beams because they only go down the middle, and you can just DPS in front there with a bunch of ranged players. And that just makes the whole fight way easier. You lose a little bit of time, but not too much, depending on your comp. And that kind of cheeses the boss, but overall I like this dungeon a lot. If it wasn't for Tyrannical just being busted in a way, and also the fact that Medivh is just such a hard boss. Like Flame Breath for a Holy Paladin is a little bit of a brain fart. Like, rather, you have a brain fart, you're dead. So it's just a matter of being good at your class, that's for sure. Also quite a challenge, quite a skill challenge. But the fact that you just think that if I was doing this on a Holy Priest, I would be having a field day, in a way kind of ruins it for me as well. Now there's Workshop. Where do I stand with Workshop? I gotta give it an A, actually. I gotta give it an A. I think Workshop is a good key though, but why not better, why not worse? I think Workshop, the fact that I don't like it too much, or rather it's not... I mean, it's a good dungeon. I'm just gonna say that. It's a good dungeon, I like it. It's short. It's challenging in in some points. This pack just gets killed by the tank. This first boss, if you get targeted by the flame, whatever that's called, from this guy, the bent jets as a Holy Paladin, it's disgusting, because you cannot do anything. You can't generate Holy Power, you can't be on melee, so you can't heal the people that are on melee with you, and you can't get use of your Ladon. So you're just like naked. All you have is just Words of Glory. So as a Holy Paladin, this boss, disgusting. Once again, being a ranged, or rather anything else than a Holy Paladin would just be ideal. So that boss, disgusting to play. This whole area, actually giga annoying, because the pools, the sleeping pools from the infiltrators are impossible to see in some spots in the water. Same goes for the mega drills. At some points they're just like completely invisible under the water. You gotta like, you can see some parts of it like on top of the ledges. If it's like close to a wall you can see it, but sometimes it's just like really under the water, so it's really hard. Otherwise, just this whole side is just slow as well. I mean, line of sight and the living waste and stuff just kind of makes it not exist, but in a way it's just a lot of kind of a fiesta in melee with those frontals, the mega drills, the slipping circles, the frontals from the infiltrator that's always gonna go backwards towards you. Yeah, really tight, kind of annoying. But after that, Cujo, I like Cujo. Quite a cool boss. Just like trying to find a spot where you can still hit it through the like line of sight and then still hit it. I like that, even if it's a gimmick, even if it's probably not intended. I do like that. This whole setup here. Where does it even start, actually? Where am I looking at this? You go, yeah, it's through here, then this way. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really just this like part here where you have the squirrels. You know, playing this, that if you were a Holy Priest, this would die so much quicker because of the squirrels than playing anything else than a Holy Priest is just trolling. If you're pushing keys. Now, healing it is alright. Because, yeah, you got the spells and stuff you can deal with, but, like, you know, it's alright. It's an alright pack to heal. People are gonna be stacked up. There's the Tantrum thing from Sort Out that, like, doesn't feel bad to heal as a Necro Holy Paladin, because everybody's gonna be, like, kinda stacked up. But you know that if you were a Holy Priest, it would just be much better. What you call it, Gauntlet, you could call it? It's alright. If people fail it, though, if you're pocketing keys and somebody fails this, you know, you really feel bad once you're waiting over here. You're just waiting for somebody to not fuck up, and it's like, I mean, bro. This trash over here, same thing, squirrels. At this point, you have the shield stuff, so like the sort out damage doesn't have to be a big problem. Is there even a sort out here? There's no sort outs over here. There's just the overclocks, you can dispel that. And then there's just a bunch of dispels. But you can offensive dispel one of the overclock. This boss is a fucking nightmare, but it's actually a cool boss. It really goes a long way of showing who's got quite some awareness of their surroundings. If you are able to dodge every single one of the blades, you got quite some awareness of your surroundings. So in a way, it's pretty challenging no matter what you're playing. In a way, I don't like this boss, but at the same time, I gotta like it because it just... Once you do it and you don't get hit by anything, you actually feel like you're not trash at the game. So I like that. These guys, whatever, just kill them. Sometimes you can skip one of them depending on your route. This part up here, same stuff. Like the fact that the squirrels exist just ruins it for me. I'm always thinking, damn, if I was a holy priest, but yeah. And this boss over here, it's alright. It's alright. I don't like the fact that if I'm melee, I'm not hitting anybody when I'm like on top of the guy. Yeah, it's if you're a fucking holy priest, that dungeon is just so free. But the usage of a holy paladin in this last boss is also very questionable. Because you're a melee, you're not hitting people with Light of Dawn, you're once again, just like the first boss, you're left with just Word of Glory to do things for you. So it feels quite bad to heal this boss. Then again, it's quite a, you know, a personal skill kind of boss, where if you get hit by the swirly or by the balls, it's just like you're trash. So in a way, I like it because you can, you know, feel satisfied that you didn't die because you suck. So it's not a bad boss, but I just think that Holy Paladin itself is not the greatest for this dungeon. However, I do like it. I think I do like this dungeon. After a lot of meditation, I've done it probably the most out of every dungeon this season so far. I think I gotta like it, man. I think I gotta like it. Well, this is what it would look like at the end, I think. I do definitely agree with what this looks like, honestly. Grimrail, my enjoyment of Grimrail has literally been negative. Lower, I gotta give it there, man. I do think if I reevaluate this, it's just gonna end up in the same spot. I think Iron Dogs can easily be way higher if some stuff is not busted. But my own personal experience of Iron Dogs has also been kind of trash. Like, we've always never timed this key by like a minute or two because we ended up experimenting on stuff and like wiping here or just doing things a little bit too slow because something was just like nasty as fuck. But you gotta learn about those things. There's always ways of like cheesing packs or straight up just not misplaying them. So in a way, you know, that learning ground is a good thing. But I do think that some tuning will definitely make this a little bit better. And yeah, I do agree with this rating. So I think that's gonna be it for this little whatever I came up with. You could call it, yeah, I guess you just call it easy content in a way. But I hope you enjoyed this little rundown and rant of what I think about the dungeons. Let me know if you agree with the tier list or whatever. Maybe send me your own tier list and tell me why you like some things better than others. And yeah, I'll call that a video. If you watch that on YouTube, I'll see you in the next one. Otherwise, I think we might do a key now.